Before we dive into today's episode, we've got something special to share with all of you. We're proud to announce the launch of Wild Roots, a brand new film series from Wolf Connection and the Wolf Connection podcast. This series takes the stories, lessons, and connection we've experienced with the wolves at our sanctuary out into the wider world, exploring what it truly means to reconnect with nature and the wilds. If you want to be part of this journey, you'll need to sign up to get early access as each film is released. The first installment is called A Handful of Dirt, featuring John Potter. Stay tuned to the Wolf Connection and Wolf Connection podcast socials for when the trailer drops and the link information on where you need to go to sign up. And make sure you're following along. This is just the beginning.
The land, the animals, and the people. Welcome to the Wolf Connection podcast.
So, Candace Dyar and Brianna Godberson finally made it to Wolf Connection. You guys have been on this mystical, magical tour. I'm going to start with Candace. It's so great, first of all, to have you here. And you've been doing so much, I feel like, new things lately. Like, you've had a lot of new stuff going on. I know you went to Yellowstone. You've been seeing the Wapitis. You see the junctions.
It's been 3 years.
It's been 3 years. I know.
Almost
you told me
3 years.
3 years. It's wild. Like, when you told me that the other day, and I was like, wait a minute, there's no way we contacted you that long ago.
So much has happened. Oh
so much has happened. But tell everybody, fill everybody in of what's going on and why, I guess, why this trip in particular, what's led up to this trip for you that made you want to do this tour of sort of wolf sanctuaries, wolf dog sanctuaries, and end up here at Wolf Connection along with a couple of other places that you both have visited.
Yeah, I feel like it happened. It all started very organically with my friend Brianna. She had, we were talking with Nani from Women for Wolves, and there was the idea to come visit the sanctuary in February. And Brianna was totally on board, but I was like, oh, I'm going to be in Yellowstone. I can't cancel that. So then we said, well, March, might be better. And I said, March I can do. And that just happened to be Women's Month. So it all just kind of aligned perfectly. And then we were like, well, we're going to be in California, so let's go visit both the Wolf Connection guys and Apex too. And we had no idea. I mean, obviously, California is a massive state. And so about 2-3 weeks before the trip, we realized that's a bit of a drive to go from Women for Wolves now, but we can do it. Road trip. So this is our it turned into a Women for Wolves type of week. Our Women's Wolf Week is what we've been calling it.
That's awesome. I mean, what has been going on with you? Because like you said, it's been 3 years since we've had you on the podcast. We obviously collab on different things on social media. What's been this journey? I feel like you've entered into this new era for you personally in terms of getting involved in a lot more conservation efforts. I see you working with Wildlife for All, talking with other groups. What is the growth pattern been like for you personally, and why taking up sort of these different causes and these different actions going through this time period?
So like I was saying, so much has happened since we've last talked. I feel like I've really dove in more on the conservation aspect of all of this. As far as I think where we left off was when I had we were talking about the first major wolf encounter that I had in Yellowstone with the Wapitis. That was in 2021. And since then, I've had a few other major epic, I guess people would call epic encounters with them. I've seen a solo wolf walk up to me in Alaska. It's just as far as the conservation aspect goes, I dove in a lot more into that following the encounter with the Wapiti pack. We mentioned 1234M getting shot outside of the park just a few weeks after me photographing them. And that's really, it was this catalyst for me to dive more into trying to protect these very misunderstood, persecuted creatures. It really changed something in me. I feel like, sorry, I'm getting a little emotional, but I think that it was supposed to happen at this point because I'm a totally different person now. And I actually told Brianna this on her podcast that I feel like that encounter, I mean, when it first happened in October of 2021, it was just me. I pulled up and there was a ranger there and the scene unraveling in front of me. And it just felt like they were sharing their lives with me. And what an honor to take all of that in. And then just to see this wolf that was beloved by so many, 1234M, to just be shot so senselessly a few weeks later, that did something to me. And I just thought, I mean, I had already had such a deep respect for wolves prior to that, but I wasn't as, I wasn't just like honed in on this is what I need to do. And it gave me a purpose, I feel like, to really advocate for them. And I just thought, what way to better utilize my platform than to speak for them and give them a voice and tell their story. And since then, that's what I've been trying to do through my social media work and through advocating and collaborating with other organizations like Wildlife for All. They've been, as you know, wonderful. Apex Protection. Now it's Team Wolf instead of Realist Wolves. So all of these different organizations that have been reaching out to me saying, can we share your artwork, or do you want to collaborate on this? Or just, they know we're all like kind of in the same wavelength together, it seems like. And it's been so wonderful and powerful. And yeah, I feel like it's giving me more of a life purpose. So that's kind of a long answer to your question there.
It's a valuable answer. What was the thing that shifted in you? Because anytime I feel like we come upon those type of events, there is a shift that happens, much like the wolves. And we'll get into what you experienced even today. And I know you've had this roller coaster, I think, of these 3 days going through, Women for Wolves, Apex, and now us here, Wolf Connection. But could you point to something that like internally shifted, or that, if you could put a word to it, what was it that
from that encounter
that just really
put things into perspective for me? I knew that they could be hunted outside of the border, but just made it that much more real that it happened right after that. And the fact that the wolf wasn't going after livestock, it wasn't doing anything what would be perceived as wrong by a rancher or a hunter. It was just shot for being a wolf. So just the thought that that's how misunderstood and persecuted and hated they are, just for the fact that they are a wolf. That did something to me. And I dove in more to try to understand, because I couldn't make sense of it in my brain. Because what I was experiencing was just so, it seemed like it was the most, I don't want to say magical, because it was just totally raw. And I felt like for me to have that experience, for them to be okay enough for me to be watching them doing this, the last thing on my mind is I should shoot this animal. I'm just trying to get more in the mindset and the brain, I think, of somebody who would want to do that, because ultimately, if you're going to change anything, you got to bridge that gap. And so that's what I'm really trying to do now. And I try to be very careful about what I share on social media, because I don't want it to come off as attacking the sort of other side of it, but sort of just telling their story, coming from more of their perspective. And even if the person's not reading the caption, what I have to say, maybe just striking that emotional connection through the eye contact, or, whatever the scene is, to make them feel something maybe a little bit different, sort of bridge that gap that's there. That's what I want to do. I think that it made me very motivated to want to do that more, because I tried to put myself in the mindset of that wolf, 1234. If I was that wolf, that's what I'd want somebody to do for me. I'd want somebody to advocate for me. I'm just trying to survive and feed my family. And this is my life. This is, I feel like, they're so unapologetic for who they are. And I love that so much about them. I think that was also part of what really struck me and brought me more to identify with who they are and want to advocate for them. I hope that's a good answer to what you asked me.
Well, it's your truth. And I think that is the best answer you could have, is whatever is truthful for you and what makes itself present there. And I think in talking with both of you today and discussing all these different issues because you have gone on this journey, and there has been an evolution in the last 2 years for
Yes.
you specifically, right?
Yes.
And just how you're able to bring those things back to the general cause of what you want to do. And I think that's incredibly powerful to be able to do that with the platform that you have, and to see the experiences that you both were talking about in this small journey that I know is going to grow into a larger one.
Yes.
I mean, there's so
Yes.
many things to discuss, and sometimes it takes something like that to almost course correct us into maybe what we should have been doing the whole time, but we just didn't know it.
Yeah.
You
And
know,
I find that so often with wolves that there's some sort of core encounter or memory that happens that just dramatically shifts someone to want to. I mean, I'm definitely not the first person to just be like, well, now all of a sudden I'm going to just advocate for wolves a lot. I mean, it's something has to happen. Usually I feel like it's a personal encounter. I felt like mine was very intimate because it was mostly me, you know, for the start of it, at least, that I had this special encounter. And I feel like there's usually some sort of major catalyst there, right? That turns you. And for me, we talked about this on the last podcast, but my brain, if I'm interested in something, I hone in like on it. It's like zoning in on something.
Yeah.
And I don't know what kind of, mental health issues I have aside from anxiety, but I think that I tend to I get really fixated on something that's part of who I am.
The Wolf Connection podcast is now sponsored by our new partner, Jacques-Marie Mage. This LA-based brand is known for their limited edition, handcrafted eyewear and luxury goods, but also for their stewardship program, which supports various nonprofits and individuals who are working to protect a future for wild wolves.
I wonder if that helps you. And I don't mean to pry into any like personal things like that, but it seems as though these are the triggers. You know, sometimes that word gets a bad connotation, but maybe this is the trigger to ease some of those issues, or to have you
Yes.
relax and get into.
You get it.
Yeah.
You get it.
It's a lot of the work that we do here, and you hearing and discussing that with you today, with some of the stories of the wolf dogs that come here and the kids that come here, and some of those issues that they may be dealing with, how we can learn from one another.
Yeah. Yes.
And empower each other to do the things that we're meant to do, and to be able to engage in our courage and curiosity. I mean, that's something, as an organization that, as we are here at Wolf Connection, you know, embracing that courage and curiosity, just like the wolf does. And you're doing that now. I mean, does that resonate with you in terms of those two words being put together? Because it seems like they're two things that are
Courage and
separate.
curiosity.
Courage and curiosity, you know?
Yes.
I mean,
That it's funny you mention it, because that experience was coming at a time of my life where I was really I was discovering more about myself and becoming more of my authentic self, you could say. And it was just, the timing was so right. Now that I reflect on it, I have time to reflect on it. And the courage and curiosity, I mean, you can't have that. I was talking with Brianna about this too, that usually it's overcoming a fear. But the courage and curiosity for me was just embracing who I am authentically. I feel like, how can you have that if, you can't have one without the other, can you? And just seeing it today and in the other sanctuaries too, the wolves, their curiosity and courage, what I witnessed with the experiences with Aqua at Women for Wolves and Winter today, and I'm gonna start crying probably, but they're more shy wolves, and to have them come up to me. I know when I was at Women for Wolves, I didn't even realize who I was going. We're just sitting there, all of us, just kind of hanging out, chilling, and Aqua comes up right next to me, and I'm petting her underneath, and after a few minutes, I look over and Nani's going, and I'm like, what? And she goes, and I was like, oh, okay, I didn't know that. And she's like, no, seriously, people who have worked here for years, she doesn't do that with. She only usually does that like with me and with Rena. And I just thought, wow, what an honor, that they were comfortable enough to feel that way. And with Winter today, I basically that was just that was the best experience, I think, so far this week for me. She was just comfortable enough to come right up, multiple times, and basically give me a bath on my face. I got a facial. It was so wonderful. So wonderful. And she knew when we were getting up, I feel like she knew we were leaving. And so I was I asked you, can I kneel back down? Is that okay? And you're like, yeah, sure, go ahead. And she came right over and did it again. And I just felt this, I feel that connection there. Whatever she was feeling, I am honored. What a privilege for that to happen.
It's just the pure authenticity of who she is.
Yeah.
And to find that connection, find that energetic field that you both matched in that moment. And those are things that I was telling you and Brianna today, those are the things that sometimes people don't necessarily believe happen all the time. And there's many instances of those types of experiences, those types of connections happening. And I saw it with Winter coming over multiple times, breaching sort of her comfort zone and comfort level to be her true authentic self, to be like, no, this is who I want to connect with this person. I want to be in this space. And that's you having.
There's no higher honor than that to me. And that's why I got so emotional about it. I think part of it is we were talking about we started talking about cats and how, it's, they aren't there to please you. They're there to, they're going to come up to you when they want to. And I feel like it's actually kind of similar, with wolves and wolf dogs. And I've heard that now from other sanctuaries too, which makes sense because I know for my cats, they are very much hands off with other people. They have to know you first. They have to get comfortable. So for her to do that with me, and she doesn't know me, but there's something there that made her feel like you're safe. I can walk up to you and you're safe. And maybe part of that was just her coming up behind me. You told me Winter's behind you, just so you know. I was like, okay. So I just made sure that I was still and didn't move, because any sudden movements, there's so much involved. It's not just the smells, sense, but it's also your movements. Did they sense that you're a threat to them at all? Or they come right up and give you a bath?
These are things, you touched on so many points that we resonate with here at the sanctuary. You're talking about the timing of this event that happened in Alaska. You're talking about the timing of this event here with Winter and capping off sort of this 3-day trip. These things, they ultimately are, you're inviting, I think, these things into your circle. And it's just a way of getting back to this relationship with wolves and the natural world in and of itself. I think wolves can be the catalyst for a lot of these things, but there are other people that, we've spoken to, I'm sure you've spoken to in your travels and your photography. Sometimes it could be whales, it could be birds, it could be whatever it is, but there's just this deep intrinsic connection that we see with wolves and wolf dogs, and how they're able to sort of pull us out of maybe the thing that we're waiting to do. And it just seems like that's the journey that you're on right now, which is really awesome to see in real time, honestly.
It's been life-changing. It really has been. I know Brianna said the same thing. We both we're finishing each other's sentences a lot of times on this trip. We're just on the same wavelength, which is so beautiful. And I've grown to love her so much as a person. She's right over there. I think that this trip for us, it's also given us ideas, where now we know we want to put together a women's wolf retreat next year. So it's so exciting, and just it happens so naturally and organically. And again, I feel like that was part of the purpose of doing this, was us having this discussion and talking about putting this together in the future, because it's changed us so much. And I've been to so many sanctuaries at this point. So, up in Washington State where I live, with Rome and Wolf Haven. And there's just, I feel like I've had so many experiences. So for this week, these past few days, to be that life-changing for me, just thought, why don't we need to share this with more women? And then I feel like for for Women's Month, it's probably a good idea, I feel like, for 2027 to kind of shoot for that, going in the theme with it too.
Why do you think it's so, and being, one of the men here at the Sanctuary in a women-run organization that truly embodies both of these things, that balances the masculine and feminine, for you experiencing it firsthand, what does it say that there is? It really does seem like there's this intrinsic connection for women and wolves, and also just being able to, it's almost as though there's a vibration that's sent out when things like this happen, like these events happen or these trips happen with smaller groups of women, and then it sort of vibrates out, and other women, it seems like they know that something is coming or something is brewing. I don't know if you can speak to that. I know you're just one of 4 billion women, but the more I've seen it.
The question, if you can kind of rephrase, just because I feel like I have so much I'd want to say.
No, I just think how do you feel like this is coming together organically? And it's just something that I think there was intentionality surrounding it, but now there's a focus.
Yeah.
And why does that sort of resonate with
I feel like women in
space?
general feel this. I noticed there's this draw and connection to wolves, and why is that? Why is it that we feel this connection to wolves? I've noticed more often that at least the women that I have connected with and met who have that strong connection to wolves or want to advocate for them have been on the same sort of journey as myself in finding our authentic selves already. Like, we are coming out of our shell. We are finding our purpose in life. This is who we are. It's an inner strength. It's taking off the mask, and that's what wolves are. They're wholly themselves. There's no mask there. It's empowering. And this is about empowerment for women. And I have so much I could talk about with it, but this is an experience that is not just meant to change lives, but to empower people. Like it has for me, witnessing them both in the wild and at these sanctuaries. I feel like a different person. I am a different person than I was just a handful of years ago. You can ask my husband. I'm a totally different person than I was. And he's been so supportive of, he's just like, yeah, you should totally do that. The Women's Wolf Retreat. That sounds amazing. It's very empowering, I feel like, to become wholly ourselves, and wolves help us do that.
I mean, they are wholly themselves, and
yes.
wolves are that, and it just to see this change, and we, like I said, we've connected and communicated from afar, but to finally meet you in person and to see on this journey. And I always love to get people's perspectives about where they are and what these journeys are. And it's, man, from the 3 years ago when we spoke, and it was, about photography and about and the amazing work that you already were doing, for this to be in the fold now for you is awesome. I have no other word for it, and it's enlightening and it's empowering, and it's so great that you get to share this.
Thank you for what you do.
Yeah. I appreciate that. I mean, I always want to be the conduit. It's never
you're an inspiration. So, I mean, you're a very huge inspiration to us, Brianna and I, that's why we're here.
I mean, just for you, what was obviously the winter encounter, anything else that has resonated with you from this visit that you're going to take with you? I love to know about this with people that have been here. You guys have been here for a few hours and really enveloped so much of what's going on. I mean, I don't know what else you could.
I didn't want to leave her presence. I didn't want to leave there. I just felt like I could sit with her for hours and not say a word. And I would have a deeper conversation than I have with most people in my lifetime.
I mean, for you, if you could give a message to the wolves and the women out there that are listening to us have this conversation, what would it be?
The message that I would have is to figure out, I think that if there's one thing that really strikes a chord with you, to follow that sort of idea in your mind, to kind of, figure out what it is that you're wholly passionate about. And it's so important for us to remove sort of these external things that are thrown at us all the time, these expectations thrown at us from others. you should be this certain way. This is, as a woman, this is what you should do. This is how you should act. This is what you should wear. This is how you're supposed to be. And how is it that you're having wolves kiss you? That's dangerous. How are you like being this comfortable in the presence of? I actually got that from my mom as a text when I was showing her some of the stuff. It's like, those are wolves, right? They could bite your face off. I was like, you don't understand. I feel like I'm going off on a tangent here, but I feel like it's really important that you remove those external factors that are thrown at you all the time, because as women, there's so much thrown at us and ingrained at us since we're kids to be a certain way and please other people. And how does that relate to wolves? They're not there to please.
They're just totally themselves.
So think of what you would be without pleasing someone else. Who is that person?
And being your true authentic self.
Yes.
That's the thing I'm getting.
It's dangerous, isn't it?
It seems dangerous, and I don't know if it's dangerous might be the word, but I think it's something that's unknown.
You might lose some people along the way on that journey. You might, people who you thought were your friends and close to you. It might reveal some things you didn't know. I know it has for me along the way. It can be difficult to embrace who you are. But you ultimately end up finding your inner circle who you're supposed to surround yourself with. And those are your people. Brianna's my person. You're my person.
We're your pack.
Yeah.
We're your pack. You've enveloped more.
Winter's part of my pack.
Winter's part of your pack for sure. And we're part of your pack too. I can't wait to see what comes of this for you and for everything else that's going on. I mean, we'll tag, we'll have your accounts in there for the socials, but this journey is incredible already, and I can't wait to see what's coming.
It's been absolutely amazing. I don't want it to end. Like, I'm getting emotional just thinking. I don't want it to end. But this has been, I feel like, especially the winter encounter and just us having this discussion here, the perfect way to wrap up our Women's Wolf Week. It really has just been absolutely perfect in every way imaginable.
It's awesome. The sacred timing was there for it.
Yes.
Candace Dyar, thank you so much. I'm thrilled that you came here, and man, I just can't wait to see what's next. Thanks so much.
Me too. Thank you.
And how's to you all out there? We'll be with you next time. Bye, everybody.
Looking for more information about Wolf Connection or the podcast? Visit our website at wolfconnection.org, where you can donate, sponsor a wolf, or become a volunteer. Thank you for listening.